Hello, my name is Matt Manzer, and today I'm going to be talking to you about anxiety. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illnesses in the U.S., affecting 18.1% of the population each year. With that being said, I'm part of the 18.1% that suffers from anxiety, but luckily there are ways to treat this disorder. In this speech, I'm going to explain what anxiety is, the different types of anxiety, and how we're going to treat anxiety. So first, what anxiety is. According to anxiety.org, anxiety disorders reflect disorders that share a general feature of excessive fear and demonstrate behavioral and functional disturbance as a result. According to Anxiety Center, 54% of women and 46% of men experience anxiety disorders. Anxiety is something that I'm probably feeling right now, which sparks the question, where do we tend to feel anxiety? The most common places that we feel anxiety are on stages, behind podiums, in bar scenes, and on dates. Most of you are probably wondering why we feel anxiety in these places, which can be explained by the type of anxiety that you're having. Which brings us to our next topic. What are the different types of anxiety? According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, there are many different types of anxiety, but the most common types of anxiety are general anxiety disorder, OCD, panic disorder, PTSD, and social disorder. So first, general anxiety disorder. General anxiety disorder is characterized by chronic anxiety, exaggerated worry and tension, even when there is little or nothing to provoke it. An example of this is just stressing for no reason or getting angry at someone really easily. Next, obsessive compulsive disorder. OCD is distinguished by repeatedly having unwanted thoughts and or repetitive behaviors. Some examples of this include washing your hands excessively or constantly cleaning in hopes of relieving your stress. I tend to do this every day. Like, if I'm really stressed out, I'll come home and the first thing I'll do is do laundry, clean dishes, or like make my bed, or if that's already done, I'll like rearrange stuff in my room. And for some reason, that like relieves my stress or anxiety. Next is panic disorder. Panic disorder is an anxiety disorder that is characterized by unexpected fear. Personally, I experience this if I am about to do something out of my comfort zone, like rock climbing, or when I was younger, I would panic on like roller coasters and stuff like that. So like before you're about to do something like, I don't know, that you haven't done, maybe like for the first time, you tend to feel this. And this is completely normal. It's not like, I don't know why they call it a disorder, but it's just natural. And then post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, is an anxiety disorder that can develop after exposure to a terrifying event in which you or someone else was harmed. So an example of this, about a year ago, I got in a car accident, like coming back from Santa Fe. I was stopped in traffic and somebody hit me going 45 from behind. And basically ever since that, while I'm driving and like coming to a stop, I always am like finding myself looking in all my mirrors, like my heart rate shoots up, I get really nervous, and that's because of that crash. So that's a good example of PTSD. Okay. And then lastly, social anxiety disorder. Social anxiety disorder is marked by excessive self-consciousness in everyday social situations. An example of this, last week I had a networking event with RBC, and when I was there, basically you go into, it was at Swamp and I was there, and you go into a room and they have representatives from RBC come in, they flew in from New York, and basically everybody's trying to talk to these people. So there'd be a huge group around one of the RBC representatives, and when I was there, I was just waiting for like a chance to speak, and then as soon as you like finally get your chance, I noticed I got like really nervous. I mean, it went well, but like I definitely got nervous when I finally got my chance to talk to this guy, because I think there's just like a huge build up and everybody turns and looks at you. So that's a good example of that. Next, and our last main point is, how can we treat anxiety? According to Medical News Today, there are multiple ways to treat anxiety, such as exercise, meditation, writing, time management, and CBD oil. Some of y'all know. So first, exercise. Exercise is a common way to treat anxiety and is one of my favorites. I personally exercise every single day to help with stress and anxiety. I'm sure y'all do the same thing. I find when I'm exercising, it's just like you're getting away from everything, and you're just like, it almost feels like the more you exercise, all that stress just like coming out of you. So I tend to do this. I find this like one of my top ways to treat anxiety. Secondly is meditation. Meditation is a really good way to treat anxiety because it helps you break down racing thoughts, which makes it easier to manage stress and anxiety. For example, before this speech, I kind of just like sat down in my car and like processed everything I was going to go through, kind of looked at the reality of the speech, like how you can get all stressed out about the speech, but at the end of the day, it's a short little 15-minute period of time where you're talking about something and everybody just wants to hear what you want to talk about, so they're not really here to judge you, you know. And then next, this is one of my favorite ones, time management. Personally, one of the biggest causes of my stress and anxiety are procrastination, which can be fixed through time management. When I have a balanced schedule that doesn't involve me rushing, I tend to be a lot calmer. So personally, I kind of have this in my head now, but I use this this chart to kind of map out my day. I figure out when I'm going to wake up and when I'm going to go to bed, and that gives me like my time frame for the day. And I don't want to be really specific with it, because obviously that'll stress you out too, because then you're like, okay, I got to be done with this, now I got to do this. But you kind of just give yourself a general idea of what you're going to be doing throughout the day and when you're going to be doing it. So yeah, this is the chart I use. You guys can find this on Google. Just search up like time management charts, whatever. And then lastly, CBD oil. The reason I chose this is because in the past like 3-4 years, I've been seeing this show up in gas stations. I'm seeing it all over Instagram. Like athletes are using it to treat their stress or pain, whatever. But basically, cannabidiol oil comes from the marijuana plant but does not contain THC, which is the component in marijuana that creates a high. CBD is known as the healing part of marijuana and is said to help treat anxiety and stress disorders. So basically the difference between CBD oil and marijuana is marijuana gets you high. CBD oil is the healing part that basically just like supposedly relieves your stress and doesn't impair you in any way. Next, I'd like to show you guys a video. Let me see how I do this.
Mouse is over here.
Mouse real quick.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
I'm sorry, Gerald. We're going to have to make some cutbacks.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Okay, so that video is basically just an example of some things that cause anxiety, get you anxious and stuff. So in conclusion, in this speech I covered what anxiety is, the different types of anxiety, and how we can treat it. Anxiety is very common and can be treated, so don't let your mind tell you that you can't get over it. Take control of your minds, and most importantly, don't let your mind set boundaries on the way you live. Thank you.